What's happening, YouTube? Jonathan Perriente, The Education 10 here, coming at you guys with a special holiday video. Want to say and wish to everybody a very Merry Christmas. Today is Christmas. Very happy Hanukkah, and a very happy Kwanzaa for people that are celebrating Kwanzaa starting tomorrow. I want to ask you guys to please continue to check and subscribe to my channel for more YouTube videos. And my video today will be a continuation of the off-season with the baseball free agency period. It's been a little while since my last video. Yankees at the time had gotten Gerrit Cole, helped really accelerate the free agency market into full gear. And I do want to talk about kind of where the Yanks have been going pretty much since the signing of Cole. No doubt, Gerrit Cole was the perfect addition the Yankees needed. They needed a big-name starter to solidify the rotation. They have that now. However, it's not like it didn't come with a price. The Yankees did have to part ways with some of their players that have been there for a long while. A couple of them didn't sting as much, but a couple of them it's going to be tough to replace. Just now, the White Sox have signed Edwin Encarnacion, the Parrot, always known for walking the parrot around the home plate after a home run. And that's going to be a tough loss for the Yanks. Edwin Encarnacion was really a solid force in the middle of that lineup. And he just further deepened the lineup with his presence and how he was able to, again, just give you that threat of his power. It is tough. Now, Eddie did not perform up to the expectations that everybody had for him in the postseason this past year. I get it. He also broke his wrist during the season, which also really kind of didn't help matters very much at that time, and really didn't come back the same player for the rest of the year. But definitely, it was very tough to see Eddie go. Just a really solid part of that lineup, and he really allowed the Yankees to have more depth in the lineup and just added a ton of extra pop to that lineup that it already had. Then, of course, just recently, the Yankees, didn't part ways, in this sense, but Dellin Betances signed with the Mets for 1 year, about $10 million. That's going to be another very tough loss for the Yanks, and that's probably one of the bigger losses of the year, and there's a third one I'm obviously going to get to in a moment. Everybody knows where I'm going with that. But Dellin Betances was in every shape and form one of the most valuable bridges in the Yankees bullpen. Betances has been with the Yankees pretty much since he was drafted. He's been with the Yankees ever since he debuted in the mid-2000s. And he really, over the last 6 years, finally developed into that pitcher the Yankees were, not into a starting pitcher like the Yanks had hoped, but he developed into one of the best relievers this game's ever seen. Betances was originally part of what was known as the Killer Bees. He was partnered with a guy named Manny Banuelos. Had a live arm, everybody had high expectations for him, and while he has bounced back and he did come back to the majors, actually is playing for the White Sox currently when we last had seen him, the injuries and his control never amounted to what the Yankees wanted, and it took him a longer time to make it, as opposed to Betances and the third member of the Yankees Killer Bees. The third one's kind of on the tip of my tongue. I'll see if I can bring it up, see if I can remember it very quickly. Just trying to get that last. Yeah, Andrew Brackman. There we go. Yeah. So Andrew Brackman and Manny Banuelos never amounted to the Killer Bees that the Yankees had that were supposed to be kind of the future of their staff. The only one that made it was Betances. He went on to be one of the most successful relievers, as I said, in the game. Had a blistering fastball that he could dial up to 100 miles an hour. But his signature was his devastating curveball. Now, I say that because Betances was not like a small guy who could throw that curveball. He's 6'8". Not many 6'8" guys can throw a curveball to the extent of how Dellin did. So, he was a major part for the Yankees as far as being that bridge, the eighth inning arm that the Yankees needed to get to guys like Mariano Rivera, to get to guys like David Robertson, to get to guys like Rafael Soriano. And then, of course, recently, Aroldis Chapman. So, he signs 1 year with the Mets. He'll certainly handle New York fine, and I'm definitely going to be curious to kind of see how he will bounce back coming off the Achilles tendon injury that he suffered at the end of the year. He was already coming off a previous injury before that. So, I'm very curious to see how he will bounce back from it. Will he be the same pitcher? We'll see. The Mets took a low-risk deal on him, so we'll definitely see how that turns up. Another Yankee that also left, and this stings for a lot of us because he had very big shoes that he had to fill. Didi Gregorius. He signed with Philadelphia, and he's going to be reunited with his manager from his Yankee days, Joe Girardi. And this is going to be, that's probably one of the biggest losses of all if you're a Yankees fan. Dellin was one of the biggest losses for the Yankees in the bullpen, and an arm that was really key for them in getting to their closer. Not that the Yankees couldn't handle this season without him. They did fine without Dellin, but still, it's hard to replace him. Losing Didi is even tougher. Now again, if the Yankees had an issue with depth in the infield, I would have said this move hurts. And it does hurt. But the Yankees' infield is in good hands, which is why they had to make this move. And again, also part of this was so they could sign Garrett Cole, which they eventually did. And moving Didi was a big piece of that. But definitely now, it's going to be a little different not seeing Didi play the infield anymore as he did in the past. You always loved that combination when you saw Didi and Glaber to set up a double play. Both of them just fed off each other well, and Didi was just a solid veteran in that Yankees clubhouse. And as I said, filling a legend's shoes is no easy task. And for someone like Didi, who was able to step in and fill in for one of the greatest shortstops of all time in Derek Jeter, and to handle the pressure of playing in New York for that amount of time, speaks nothing more of Didi's work ethic and his workman and business-like approach to the game. Didi will definitely take his talents over to Philadelphia. He'll do a fine job mentoring the young players in Philadelphia. There's no doubt about it. They got a perfect player to really mentor the young kids on the Philadelphia Phillies. And now it's going to be time for the new Yankees. It's going to be time for Gleyber Torres to really embrace that role in the infield now, as he will move back to his original position of shortstop, where Didi filled that void for a long time. We'll see if Gleyber will be up to the task of handling short. DJ LeMahieu can go right there and play second. Could put him pretty much anywhere in the infield. And Urshela is coming off a great year. You keep him right there at third. And Duhar is going to be a very interesting decision. Do you put him back at third where he struggled with his arm? Maybe you put him back at first base. You have Luke Voigt and you have Mike Ford. So that's going to be... The Yankees are definitely going to have some decisions to make. And again, it is a business. It's not easy to part ways with guys like this. But the Yankees had to make some tough choices here. And we'll see now what happens with losing Didi, losing Dellin, and actually one more Yankee I got to bring up, of course, and this is very, while he wasn't a starter on the Yankees lineup, he was every bit as important as being a backup behind the plate for the Yanks, Austin Romine. He signed a one-year deal with Detroit, and he had been serving as the Yankees' backup catcher for about 6-7 years. And really, Romine was becoming a better hitter over the past couple of years as well. He finally really got around to developing into a decent hitter. Not having to be a 50 home run hitter, no, but getting to the point where he could be a respectable 260, 270 hitter. Can give you a big double or single here and there. Had a little power behind his bat as well. But just was an overall solid backup behind the plate for Gary Sanchez. And now you lose Austin Romine now to the Tigers. And now the Yankees are going to have to find someone that can really back up Gary Sanchez if he gets hurt, and he's already got a history of being hurt. So we'll see where the Yankees go with the catching situation and how they will kind of handle this going forward. I mean, they have Higashioka, which I guess now his time has come to be that regular backup catcher. Not that Higashioka can't hit, he certainly can. But it's going to be hard to replace somebody like Austin Romine, who was a good veteran presence behind the plate. So we'll see if Kyle Higashioka can embrace that role as a backup catcher. He handled it fine when he had to call him up from the minors. He handled it perfectly fine. So we'll see where this goes for him. Yankees have a lot of things to look forward to for 2020. Several teams around the league have changed up their team. It's not just the Yanks, and it's not just the Tigers, and it's not just the Phillies. The White Sox have gotten more powerful. As I said, they got Eddie Encarnacion. They've added to their pitching staff, getting Keuchel. They added Grandal earlier in the free agency period. So the White Sox are slowly developing pieces that are going to make them really become now a threat in that American League Central alongside the Twins. There's still more moves to be made in the market. The Blue Jays signed Hyun-Jin Ryu to be kind of that new ace of their rotation. So that's going to give the Yankees a challenge down there. And the Blue Jays slowly are going to become a very good team soon. You already have Kevin Biggio, who got brought up from the minors. You already have Vlad Guerrero Jr. And then, of course, we've now been seeing the impact of Bo Bichette. So the Blue Jays have a very promising group of players in that American League East, and they're going to slowly become a dangerous threat again in the East over the years. Not yet, but maybe like in a couple more years, I think the Blue Jays are going to be a very scary team. The Red Sox are going to be the Red Sox. So far, the only big loss so far for them, really, in more ways, they dealt Rick Porcello, but he really hadn't been pitching well to begin with. Mookie Betts has still not been moved yet. I don't think the Red Sox, right now at this point, are they going to move him? I don't know. But you still have a young Rafael Devers. You still have Benintendi. You have Sale coming back. He'll want to bounce back from a bad year. So the Red Sox still have a lot of pieces in place as far as their offense is concerned, and I never have any doubt in the Red Sox and what they're able to do in that American League East. The Rays, yeah, they lost Tommy Pham, but as long as the Rays have pitching, they're going to be a threat to contend with in the American League East. And their ability to bullpen the game is better than any team in the league right now. Orioles are still a while away, so definitely you're seeing some of the moves, and some teams, so far the trade market has benefited them greatly. Some has really hurt them. The Indians pretty much now have gotten rid of their main core that really made the Indians a playoff contending team, got them to a World Series. Corey Kluber is gone. They're trying to move Lindor. Clevenger is possibly going to get moved. So the Indians are pretty much rebuilding now and going for a massive sell-off is where they're heading. So, as we're now in late December on Christmas Day, we're approaching New Year's, more moves in the major league market are still to be made. Still have some big names still available on the free agent board, and I'll be curious to see which teams will jump at the opportunity to add them to their club, and how it will continue to further shape the 2020 season coming up in late March. Will be very interesting, and, well, we'll be looking forward to that baseball season. You know, it's kind of hard to believe how quickly the season ended and how quickly the season will soon begin. Let's take a look at the I actually want to just kind of see for myself because I'm actually a little fascinated right now. Okay. 2020. Okay, 2020 in February 21st will be the first spring training game. So that means pitchers and catchers are almost around the corner to report very, very soon. And pretty much around Valentine's Day is when pitchers and catchers are going to report. So we're getting close already. We're almost into January. It's only about a month away. Baseball season is coming, folks. And we'll soon see what the market will further shape the coming season into. Happy holidays to all. Jonathan Pariente, The Education 10, saying bye for now.